Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? I hope you're doing well. Yeah, a little bit of sarcasm there. Yeah, what a night last night. I already know the name that I'm going to entitle this video. You'll find out the reason why here in a second. I'm going to call it, I Have the Best Guardian Angels Ever. And there's a reason for that. Yeah. So, pull up a chair and here's some weather drama. Yeah, I went out to work last night, and it was okay. And then I seen storms coming in. What are you doing? She's licking my sock. Don't ask. She's doing better today, by the way. We're not out of the woods yet, but she's getting there. So thank you for the positive energy that was sent yesterday. I appreciate it. Oh, there she goes running. Good. Good sign. Excellent sign. So anyway, went out to work last night. Everything was fine at first and so forth, and I kept seeing clouds coming in. Real nasty ones, but unfortunately I wasn't out in the open. I was in urban areas, so I wasn't really able to watch it to see, what exactly was going on. And until I finally went over this bridge, and I was able to look out, I don't know what river it is. Let's face it, there's a ton of rivers and lakes around here. Pick one. I know I went from extreme dry to extreme wet. We'll put it that way. But anyway, I look out and wow. And unfortunately I had no place to even be able to pull over to maybe at least get a picture or anything. And I had cars behind me and so forth, so it wasn't like I could slow down even. So, but yeah, it was black. I mean, it was just very, very, very dark, layered clouds, and that was the thing too. It wasn't just, with the clouds and so forth, it was dead calm. And I was just like, I mean, it was just perfect tornado formation weather. So, but anyway, I wound up getting on the freeway to go pick up first of two orders, and it hit. That's when it hit. And I wasn't too far from my exit either, but it was just so horribly bad. The downpours, it was torrential downpours and easy 90 to 100 mile per hour wind gusts. It was at least hurricane force winds, but the wind gusts were definitely like 90 to 100 mile per hour winds. And I get off at my exit. I get to where I'm supposed to be picking up, and initially I was going to be pulling in to this one parking spot, and then I look and I see this tree. I mean, there were these trees, but I don't know. There was something about that tree right in front of me, and I'm just like, yeah, this may not be the best spot for me to be parking. I don't need something happening and I wind up having to be dealing with a damaged car because tree, something happened with the tree. Either a huge branch broke off or something, and it wind up hitting the car or whatever. I'm just like, no. So I went ahead and pulled alongside the curb there in front of the restaurant that I was picking up from and threw my flashers on, and it was inside of a shopping area anyway, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but I just went ahead and threw my flashers on. I was just like, I'm going to park there. And it was far enough away where from any of the trees where I felt like it was okay. But at that point it was hailing, and that's when and it was about pea-size hail, I'd say. Hi. Yeah, you could tell she's feeling better. Little Miss feeling much better. Yeah, she sure is. That's good. So anyway, yeah, that's when I got some video. I just watched it, and you can hear the hail hitting the car in the background. I was talking on it, by the way. So, but just if you want to ignore me, and you can hear the hail coming down. But yeah, that was just actually the start of my journey. I finally wound up risking it, and for whatever reason, I was having issues being able to connect. This is even before the storm started moving in. For whatever reason, I couldn't connect my phone with the car, and I like to have that going, so I have, the lady, talking the directions to me, so I'm not paying attention to what's going on, with the GPS. I can just have them talk to me while I pay attention to the road, And so anyway, fortunately, I did think to bring my Bluetooth with me, and I had it in my ear when I went inside to grab the order. I came back out, and that Bluetooth, unfortunately, the earpiece does not stay in my ear. I got small ears, and it doesn't. I've tried all the different earpieces that it came with. None of them stay in, and it doesn't stay hooked onto the part that you wrap around your ear either. And unfortunately, as I was getting back into the car, it fell off, and I was in hopes it fell off in the car, which it didn't. It fell off outside the car amongst the flooding that was happening also. Forgot to mention that part. So anyway, I open up the car door. Sure enough, there's my Bluetooth on the road, or on the tarmac, whatever. And I went ahead and grabbed it. I don't know if it works or not. I haven't tried it. I'm not too worried about it. If I can keep things going with, the car, I will. I did learn, because I don't know too much about earbuds. I'm not very, I'm a bit, I never used to be technologically challenged, but I've gotten to be that way in recent years. But anyway, yeah, I did find out that the earbuds that they make nowadays, that they also have the the mouthpiece or whatever, so you can talk at the same time. So I like to do that, to do the talk to text to people if they message me, or I need to message them, or something, or if I need to call them, we need to talk on the phone or something like that. So yeah, but unfortunately, yeah, I don't know if it works or not. We'll find. I guess I'll find out after this. So anyway, I went to continue doing my deliveries, and then I started running into issues with blackouts, power losses around the area. I was mostly around St. Paul most of the night, and I was dealing with blackout situations over there. Loss of cell phone coverage, or I'd get my cell phone coverage back, but I was losing GPS coverage, especially through the Uber app. But fortunately, I still had some sort of a connection where the GPS wasn't working, but it was still active enough to where it could at least tell me, send the information over to, like Google Maps or what have you. So at least I could open that up, because I didn't even have the address. I couldn't get any information with where I was supposed to be going there for about 30-45 minutes, something like that. And then I wound up getting a request in. It was 2 Walmart orders, very nice prices. Surging was definitely up at that point, but unfortunately wound up losing it because of the connection issues. So it was like, oh well, it is what it is. So then I got a couple more order requests once things finally got straightened around and so forth, and I went to go pick up the one, and I forgot about that one. Almost forgot about that one. It was so funny. It was at an Asian restaurant, a small place, and there was no on-street parking right in front of them, so I had to kind of circle around, and I pull into where I knew the parking lot. I seen a parking lot as I drove by, but I was in hopes there would be, like some sort of closer parking, but there wasn't. So I circled around. I seen the street to go around the back, and the quote-unquote parking lot doubled as a through street. A lot of fun. Especially, and I'm pulling in, and of course I'm dealing with flooding. It's dark, and by this point and everything, and I was also dealing with sinkholes. These weren't potholes; these were sinkholes, and I'm just like, oh gosh. And I thought for sure I was gonna. I mean, there was a couple times I thought for sure I was damaging the car, but it's fine. So it's like, okay, never mind. We're fine. I definitely got a little bit of hail damage on the roof of the car, but it's not that noticeable, so we're okay. So anyway, yeah, I went to pick up that order. By that point, oh, excuse me, I really need to go to the bathroom. So I asked her, would it be all right? She's like, sure, no problem. Come back out, get the order. And by this point, I am drenched, head to toe. I'd even wound up stepping in a mud puddle that I couldn't see because it was so dark. And I had my flashlight on my phone, but I just couldn't. I didn't see it because at the same time I was also trying to find an address where I was supposed to be dropping off this order, and I couldn't see any addresses. And I'm assuming that this address I was supposed to be at there was a fencing around it. And I don't go inside fencing. I don't know if there's any dogs or anything in there. That's all I need is, go inside a fenced in area, gated area, and somebody's dog is out. They see me as a threat and start attacking me or something. I know people, oh no, my dog is friendly. Well, yeah, okay, but if you're around or whatever, but then all of a sudden a stranger comes around, yeah, and don't get me wrong, I have a very good rapport with animals, but at the same point, yeah, it can happen. I know better. So, especially with big dogs. And I don't like taking those chances. So I wound up taking the order or the bag and basically putting it on a thing, but in the process of trying to figure out if this was the actual right address or not, I wound up stepping in a huge mud puddle. Shoes are already wet, soaking wet anyway, but now I'm even wetter. Somehow throughout all of this, I actually dried off, but anyway, throughout the night. But anyway, getting back to the other place, I got the order, and I was about to turn to leave, and she tells me, stay dry. I just looked at her and said, a little late for that. By this point, I'm not even wearing a face mask anymore because there's no point, to be perfectly honest. It's like, I'll forget it, it was getting wet also. It was just, and I realized I always keep a spare one with me, but there's no point at this point. So I'm like, I'll just chance it, be done with it. So anyway, I got that order, and on the way, I accepted another order to pick up. That come to find out it was actually around the corner from where I was going to be dropping off. But with this place that I was supposed to be picking up at, it was a Mexican place. There's no on-street parking again. So I circle around and I see again parking lot in the back, and I see with the other businesses that are there that there's doors going from the parking lot to inside that business, but I wasn't seeing it for that one. It was on a corner in the T part or the L part of the building, okay, and it was right there in that corner, and I was just like, okay, so and my only other option, I couldn't see if there was a entrance back there or not. My only other option was to go all the way around the building to the front door. but I had this nagging feeling, don't do it. Look for a back entrance. So I start snooping around, and first I found an employee entrance, which of course was locked, but then just happened out of the corner of my eye, I seen right there in the corner a door. And I went and tried it. Sure enough, I was able to go in. I go up there and I stand there at the counter. I show them, the order and everything, so that way they have the name. And it was right after that, bam! I seen a huge flash. The windows that were right there on the street, where I was going to be walking, basically at that point, at that moment, I was going to be walking. There was a huge flash and crack of thunder. That close to possibly getting struck by lightning. I'm not kidding. It was like if I wouldn't have snooped around like I did and walked around the building like I was going to, thinking that I was going to wind up having to do, yeah, very, very possible it would have coincided. Yeah, not fun. That's how bad it was out there last night. So, and it was funny because I go to leave and I go out the back, and there was a guy who was standing there next to me waiting for his order, and he actually went out the front door all the way around. He had no idea there was a bed. I was going to stop him, but it was too late. He was gone. So it was like, oh well, take your chances. But fortunately, there wasn't any more crashes like that. But it was funny because I was going out, and I step outside, and then all of a sudden this big flash of lightning again, and crack of thunder, but only it wasn't striking. It was up in the atmosphere. And I just look up, and I am like, look, if you all want me to go home, to get out of this and go home, you need to start sending me some higher paying orders. It was right after that, after I got done with those 2 orders, that bam, I started getting the higher paying orders. Yeah. Actually, I was using a few explicits also there, but hey, I was like, look, if you want me to fucking go home, then you better start sending me some fucking... That's what I said. And it was just like, yeah. And like I said, I got done with those, dropping off those 2 orders, and I started getting the bigger orders. My last one was a big dollar amount. It was a shopping order. One of the 24-hour grocery stores around here. And yeah, that was awesome. I went home after that. Made some decent money though last night. It was awesome. So, yep. And unfortunately, I haven't seen it. I'm looking on my weather app. I'm not seeing it, but according to what Rick had told me, and he told Angie too, with what he had seen on the weather this morning, I guess we're supposed to have around 2 tonight. So, yeah, my guardian angels are going to be working overtime a little bit. But that's okay. I got some good ones. They proved it quite a bit to me over the last several years. So, and it's supposed to be really high winds, like tornado-like winds, without actually being a tornado. They call it a derecho. So, derecho, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what was said to me. Something like that. I think it's a Spanish word. So, which to me would be derecho. I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway. Or derecho. I don't know. Look it up. I'm too tired. And I got food cooking downstairs. So, but anyway, yeah, it's, that's supposed to be coming tonight, but I'm used to high winds, as long as it's not rain and so forth like what we had before. So, I guess it's supposed to be coming across the Dakotas and southern part of Minnesota. Depending on how far south, it's going to depend on how far north it happens. Oh my goodness. But yeah, lots of fun last night. And I did, and with everything that I was dealing with down there, I had looked at the radar to see what was going on elsewhere, see how far and this and that and everything. It looked like up here that they were getting it even worse than what we were down there. And so, and of course, with her, you know, with everything that she's going through, with pancreatitis again and so forth, I was a little concerned about what was possibly happening up here. So I texted home to find out, and nobody was responding. I could see that somebody had seen the message, but they didn't respond. And then I'm like, okay. So I sent another message, basically letting them know, answer me this time. And I got a response back saying, yeah, everything's fine here. Okay. And then I seen that something else came in, but I was in too much of a mess up down there to look at it or anything. So I didn't see what the other message was until I got home, and basically Angie sent me a picture of her curled up, sound asleep on the bed, or she had been sleeping, but until she had the door open, and it was just like, the picture was like, oh gosh, what are you doing? You know, so, but yeah, she was fine. Everything was fine here and everything, and I explained that to Angie, actually just a little bit ago. The reason why I sent the text message and explained to her, you know, everything I was dealing with, and I was just concerned with what was going on out here and everything, and she was just like, yeah, hardly anything. It was just like, I mean, I could see when I got home that they got a lot of rain, looked like they got a lot of wind. I could see debris in the road, you know, like some small tree branches, more like twigs, you know, things like that. I know, your footsies are a little bit warm. Okay. Yep, a little bit warm still. Still wondering if I should go and get you some baby Tylenol. But you're active still. Yeah, you're still active, so we will just go ahead and keep things going that way. Yeah. Yeah. You're still active. So we will forego. But we gotta keep you cool, I know. So, but at least she understood, you know, the reason why I was. She thought that I was asking about her, how she was doing. And I was just like, no, I was more worried about what, I mean, I knew she was okay, you know, don't get me wrong, I was worried about her and everything, but no, I was more concerned, because like I said, according to what I'd seen on the radar, it looked like it was much, much worse up here than what it was down there, but no, not a whole lot. I was worrying for nothing, but better be safe than sorry. I'd much rather be a good mommy. No, I know I'm a good mommy. I know that. The way I look at it with all of this is helping with my constitution. Giving me some more chevrons, basically. It's like, yep. I mean, it's been a couple years. We would get bad weather out there, especially during the summer with the monsoons. We do get bad weather out there in Vegas, in the desert. That warm moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. So, yeah, there, and the last time really dealt with really bad weather like what I dealt with last night was actually a couple of years ago, because last summer it was a very dry monsoon season. Very dry. But a couple years ago, we got some pretty nasty storms that were going through. They would actually it was kind of weird, instead of coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, they were coming down from like Utah, and they were either becoming straight down the 95, or actually what happened, I think a couple times, it had storm cell come down the 95, another one coming down the 15, converging there to downtown area, and I lived close to downtown, and they would stall, they would merge, and they would stall right there over downtown. So if you do a Google search, especially YouTube, of Las Vegas storms 2023, that would be, especially like downtown flooding, and also the Circa Hotel Casino, their sports book, it was pouring, rain was pouring inside. I think that was the same year Planet Hollywood also had the same issue. I know that they had an issue sometime in there. Also flooding of the Strip area too also happened. I think that was that same summer, if I'm not mistaken. So, but yeah, we do those monsoons, and it's not isn't always necessarily just, you know, storms like that, what I had just talked about. It's also the fact that, you know, basically Vegas is in a valley, okay? It's surrounded by mountains, and especially Mount Charleston out there to the west, which is about, I think, 12,000 feet or something like that. So, yeah, it's like, you know, even if it's dry there in the valley, you've got it raining up there in the mountain, and all that water just goes rushing right down into the valley, winds up doing all that flooding. So, and you get to know the problem areas, the areas that to avoid and so forth, and I've got to see about learning that with here as well. But it's kind of difficult because most of the time I don't even know where I'm at. It's terrible. I had no idea where I'm at most of the time. So, but I'm learning. I'm getting there. It's just more. I'm learning more general areas. You know, like I know where Robbinsdale, Coon Rapids. You know, Lake Minnetonka. You know. South St. Paul, West St. Paul, you know, I know all these areas, not, you know, the big general areas, but actual minute areas, like, for instance, where I was at on the freeway when that storm hit, it was basically 94 East in Hamlin. Yeah, I have no idea where that was at. I'd have to look on a map to see. I know I've been in that area many times, because I always recognized where that Hardee's is at. But as far as where it is in relation to the larger area, I don't. I have no idea. Most of the time I have no idea where I'm at. I kind of getting to know certain things where I'm recognizing things, but I still don't know in relation to where it actually is at. So, and that's where I really want to get over to like Barnes & Noble or something and see if I can get a hold of a map book so I can start looking at things like that. I mean, I have the big pull-out map, you know, if you remember those back in the day, the big paper maps or whatever, that gives you a big overview or whatever, but as far as, you know, those minute details, they're not very good with that. So, yeah, this one is definitely feeling better. She still won't lay in her beddy, though. But at least she's getting better with looking out the window. So, that's okay. She'll get there. She'll get there again. It'll just take time. She's just got to work through her anxieties. So, oh, and that was the other thing too that I was dealing with last night, which I almost forgot to mention. Low sugars. Good thing. Well, when I started off, I figured I'd run over to Hy-Vee. It's one of the local grocery store chains, and I really, in a way, I love those stores. They are really awesome. I mean, really, really awesome stores. But they can be very confusing. That's the part that I don't like, because they got shit everywhere. You know, like they'll have, okay, soda, especially like a sparkling water, okay, or energy drinks or something like that. I don't drink energy drinks or, for the most part, sodas or anything anymore. But when I'm doing shopping orders, it can wind up being a problem. So it's like, okay, for instance, perfect example, energy drinks. They have some down where the water's at, some down where the sodas are at. They have some over in the deli area. They have some in the bakery area. They have some in the prepared food area, you know, because I mentioned Hy-Vee before. They have some up along the cash registers. They have some in the health food area. They got them all over the frickin' place. So you can wind up running all over the store trying to find these things, but that's okay. But I do love those stores. They are really cool stores though. So, but I ran over there because I was really wanting a bag of my late July nacho cheese chips, the tortilla chips. Okay, I love those things. I love them better than Doritos, even the spicy nacho Doritos. They're really cheesy, and they've got a lot of really good spices in them and everything. Oh, they're just so good. I love those things. So I decided, and the only other place that I know that sells them is Whole Foods. I didn't want to run all the way over to Whole Foods. I just figured I'd run over there to Hy-Vee and pick myself up a bag. I'm so glad I did, because I was really running into some issues with low sugars last night too, with everything. I think probably it's because of the estrogen, getting, you know, calming things down in my body and so forth, so it's balancing out my blood sugars because of it. You know, menopause, if it is menopause, it can fuck you up, you know, if it really screws up your blood sugars. That's why diabetics can't do hormone replacement therapy treatments, because it messes up our blood sugars. So, but yeah, lots of fun. And I did pick up a candy bar. I wound up at Cub at one point, and I went ahead and grabbed a candy bar while I was there. I was going to grab one when I was at Hy-Vee, but they wanted way too expensive of a price. I decided to wait. Glad I did, because they were a hell of a lot cheaper at Cub. And they were also on sale, so I went ahead and picked myself up one. So, but anywho, yeah, lots of fun, and I've got round 2 tonight, and then I have to work tomorrow night as well, you know, because of course I gotta get that car payment ready. So, but anywho, I'll get that video uploaded as well, the other one, and so y'all can see it if you want to. Alright, love you guys. I'll talk at you soon. Love you.